so mad that these politicians can tell a doctor what to do.
Well,
I mean, it's
get in line behind the insurance companies. Now, you need to ask yourself a question here, Margie. Let's put on our thinking caps. Let's lay the cards out as you have in your call. We have a drug, hydroxychloroquine. It's used on the table here. We have the drug hydroxychloroquine. It's used in conjunction with the azithromycin, Z-Pak. Your assertion is that it has been working well. And your assertion comes from having talked to doctors about it. That is being given to patients with the coronavirus. And it is, for the most part,
你们马上做到，可以确保这些孩子们不来你们的学院，照样可以进行正常的学习呢？
首先，第一个，我们有。
Well, I guess it's the new norm. It's the way it's always going to be. I don't believe it's, nor does it need to be the way it's always got to be. I go back to Jimmy Carter, since I invoked him, bless his heart, last half hour. Back during his hapless presidency, despite all the good things he's done, wasn't a good president. And, but a nice, honorable man, just wrong on a lot of policy issues. But he was saying, this is as good as it gets. It's like the patent office in the United States of America. What's that famous quote? Was it 1857, 1858, something like that, 19th century? Where some executive bureaucrat at the patent office said, well, pretty much everything's been invented has been invented now. Turn out the lights. The world's gone mad. I'm glad you and I are sensible here. And listening to San Diego Stock, AM 760, we'll see what the governor does today. If he does say, he's big on doing these announcements at noon that you'll hear on News Radio 600 Kogo. He's big on doing the announcements and then announcing another announcement. Monday it was, I'm going to have more for you on Thursday. Yesterday it was, well, there's a couple little nuggets, and we may have more Thursday. And then we're going to, he worked in the toggle switch again yesterday. And I want to make sure we're not toggling on and toggling off. Toggles and levers and ropes and pulleys and hair gel, all this stuff that is Gavin Newsom. And again, I'll give him good marks so far early on, but in the last week, although now he's, because he's forced to, doing the right thing to start saying, let's let the local governments determine what's better for local. Now we'll see how that really fleshes out when he gives the specifics with other types of businesses that are getting the blessing of phase 2. The question is always, can those businesses reopen at all? Because every day makes it more difficult for many. And he still has his problems with the unemployment system in California. That's on his watch at the state EDD, and that's not working well at all at most levels. Because there's more people up on the unemployment now than were there the entire year of 2019. Careful what you wish for, and you never let a crisis go to waste. It's a very serious virus, okay, but let's just shut off the economy. Really? Well, you're going to have to wear a mask. You're going to have to stand on one leg. You're going to have to toggle back and forth. Do the hokey pokey. Wear a beanie with a... Just don't give them ideas. Put a beanie with a propeller on top if somebody says, you got to circulate the air around you. 858-522-5775. Tim Graham is back with us, the executive editor at newsbusters.org. I saw Dr. Joy Behar has a statement that she was making on The View that you have up on Newsbusters. So they're all social distancing, right? They're in the little Zoom boxes or however they're doing the technology. Is that how that works, Tim?
Yeah.
It actually makes for a better show. They're not screeching over each other all at once. Well, let's listen. Here's Dr. Joy Behar, part of her the latest View show where she's an expert on all things. Here she is.
These people are being egged on by right-wing media, people like Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh. And why are you bringing guns to a rally? You want to call yourself protesters, leave your guns home. Those are terrorists who bring guns to things, to rallies. I don't trust that at all. And don't listen to these people. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
That's right, Sonny. What's your opinion about what's going on?
Well, what really disturbed me was the president's tweets. You have the president saying things like liberate Virginia, and then also in the same sentence bringing up the Second Amendment. And to Joy's point, you saw protesters with guns. And I think, he's in a sense implying an incited insurrection. I think the argument can be made that he is inciting violence by these tweets. He's inciting government insurrection. And many people are saying, well, it's his free speech. But the Supreme Court has found many times that, if you're inciting lawlessness that's leading to violence, that type of speech isn't protected. And so I'm just shocked that we have the President of the United States, again, inciting this kind of behavior.
Why such violence and yet such decorum there when they're taking turns? Sonny, your turn. So Tim Graham, a lot of that was about the rally in Michigan, where some of the protesters brought guns, right? And which is their Second Amendment right. But this idea that Dr. Joy Behar and the doctors on The View conclude, they jump to this anytime guns are involved, is obviously the guns mean if you have a gun, you're a terrorist and you're going to go nuts. So that's part of the narrative, right?
I think what's quite obvious is liberals love protesters as long as they're on the right side. And when the protesters that turn out are conservatives and they're protesting against Democrats, then they're terrorists. I mean, these people aren't bringing, their handguns or their Derringers. They're bringing the big guns. And so, obviously, you can find that scary. But the obvious point here, when they start talking about inciting violence, this liberal media made excuses for Antifa burning stuff down. They've made excuses for Black Lives Matter burning Ferguson down. Don Lemon went on the air and said, well, I understand where they're coming from. Justice, it's a long way coming, So, I mean, it's that double standard. The fact is there is no violence at these protests.
Yeah.
They're screaming about somehow the implied violence that might happen, which is exactly what they did a few months ago in Richmond, when the protesters showed up to protest Governor Northam's gun regulations, and they came armed. And it was completely peaceful. But, they treated it as a violent event when it most obviously was not.
Well, there's plenty of gems in all that, and of course the people of Michigan have been rewarded by the governor, Whitmer, by the governor who likes to come on there and smile, and who's played incredibly well by Cecily Strong on SNL. I mean, it's unbelievable how we're not out of the woods yet. But she tends to come back and say, I appreciate the protest, and now here's some other ways we're going to make your lives miserable and restrict things you can't buy. And she's the one banning seeds. You can't possibly have your own victory garden now to grow food because you can't get it or the line's too long at the stores. So it's like, no, we're going to restrict that too and make it all essential. There's another thing going on. Well, before I get to Michelle Obama, the Joe Biden allegations, and I am a little torn on this where obviously there has to be due process, but just there's the nature of what's covered and what's not, and the late to the party, in some of these national news outlets, and then Pelosi saying that she's not going to talk about it anymore. She says, I believe Joe Biden. Joe Biden, who said you believe the women, right? He said, I believe Joe Biden. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Is that it then? Is that how this works?
Pelosi can tell a bunch of Democrat reporters I'm not taking any more questions on it, and they'll probably stop. Because they're kind of servants. So when she treats them like the servants, she yells at them and tells them what to do. But, they took a month. Most of these outlets took a month or took 3 weeks to actually even address this. So it's not, the question is not, does Biden have a presumption of innocence? I mean, I think he does. But there's obviously a dramatic difference in the kind of aggression that this media showed Brett Kavanaugh in 2018 and the absolute laying around and trying not to do anything that they're doing with Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the reasons the conservative media is making a big point out of this. Is it's obvious that Tara Reid has more corroboration of people she told back in 93 that this allegedly happened. Christine Blasey Ford could never find somebody who would say she was there, when, where. She didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they treated her like she was Rosa Parks and Sojourner Truth.
And Tim Graham, executive editor of newsbusters.org in Washington, D.C., as part of media research organization, Media Research Center there with Brent Bozell and company. And yes, they're all socially distancing and being very, very careful and wearing masks as appropriate, which apparently now we're supposed to make clear. I'm watching some of the television coverage there, and the spacing between reporters and the people on the don't touch the microphones are getting to be just freakishly like the Red Sea parting. Now, it's like the Trump town hall from the Lincoln Memorial on Sunday night with Brett Baer and who else was there? Martha McCullough. I mean, it wasn't 6 feet. It was like 24 feet. And then Abraham Lincoln sitting in the middle going, I'm not wearing a mask? I'm sitting here. I'm Abe Lincoln. Come on. We faced the Civil War. We survived. He gave it all, of course, in the ultimate. But there's some point where you say, okay, we have to keep wearing more masks. We have to keep being more apart. I just don't see that. What is also interesting... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that we know at this point that Donald Trump doesn't have it, and I think he's being tested pretty awfully regularly. So I don't think the risk there was to the Fox interviewers, just like it wasn't to, the threat wasn't to David Muir last night on ABC. It might be more that the reporters, the questioners, might get to the president, but I find it more annoying that, that they're doing these stand-ups outside with their masks on.
Yeah, and you'd be in the middle of a cornfield somewhere saying, well, the beef industry is hit there. Why are you wearing a mask?
Right.
Well, because maybe it's out in the air. Well, there may be a lot of things out in the air. And then there's that whole point, you talk about herd immunity. There's a point where you're not immune to anything because you're constantly sanitized. The other thing I noticed at the Albertsons yesterday again is when the mask is on in certain places where here in the county, we have to do that. So you want to make your mask fun and interesting, of course, where you can. But you don't really have your sense of smell. Okay, so if you think about it, it's like, wait a minute, I can't smell that here in the store. I mean, wait, that's one. I hope I don't have the virus, because you might lose your sense of, well, you got a mask on. So you got a lot of people probably self-diagnosing and freaking out, and then of course they're hot and uncomfortable. And
I was wondering if you were going to change the name of your show to Good Morning Dogface.
Yeah, thank you. You saw it there. Yes, that's on Mark Larson Media on Facebook. Looks like a dog driving a getaway car when he got going. They've talked about some of this possibly. They're theorizing that maybe it goes between dogs and cats. That'll be next. A whole new industry. Mask, puppy mask. And then Newsom would come out of the press conference, a daily thing like he's done, and buy 2 million masks for pets. And I'm all for keeping pets happy and healthy, but of course, Newsom is buying those from China, and that's something that, we're not going to scrutinize that. There's so much in all of this, again, with a lot of the best of intentions. Michelle Obama suddenly is making comments. Her book's been out for a while, but she makes some comments in the last 24 to 48 hours and about how the election was lost in 2016 and chastises Democrats for what they didn't do or did do and whatever. And all of a sudden, you saw this in all the newscasts yesterday, suddenly a lot of talk and a lot of chatter online with people saying, she'd be a great vice presidential pick for Biden. Much to the irritation of Stacey Abrams down there in Georgia, who thinks she's got it. So what does that mean? What do we learn out of that? How that works?
Well, they have a new Netflix documentary that's basically about her book tour for Becoming. So the Obamas get this $50 million plus book deal. Then they get a $50 million Netflix deal, and now they're using the Netflix deal to promote the books. I mean, the buck raking here is immeasurable. But I always discourage the idea that Michelle Obama wants to be vice president. She is, she sort of floats above the world right now. And so, why would you give that up? You're making tens of millions of dollars. Everybody worships you, basically. If you looked at NBC this morning, it's like, oh, Michelle Obama's spoken. They just, I don't know why you would submit yourself to scrutiny. And frankly, Mark, they've really never investigated, how did she do at Princeton? Did she plagiarize the term paper? What did she do at the law firm? Did she make any improper deals? There's never been any of that with Michelle Obama. And she's an accomplished woman. So what's ironic, and we saw this with Hillary Clinton as well, they're much more likely to hammer the traditional wife, or in Donald Trump's case, the trophy wife, much more critical of the Republican wives, and more likely to give them scrutiny. I guess in Melania's case, scrutiny anything or jackets, but they just never covered Michelle Obama like she was anything less than the Queen of America.
Well, and that narrative continues, and so that was what was the Netflix series, the special helped put that in the news cycle, and then people started saying, in fact, Barack Obama, day before yesterday, was trending on Twitter, and people in the trends and in the tweets were saying, why is he, I guess we're just looking back to a happy time, or we think so, and there was people discussing why it was that it was in the trends.
were going to do a virtual commencement on YouTube. That was probably the...
Oh, that was the catalyst. Read more about these things and read all the text, and also see a lot of great videos there, and you can be the judge. Newsbusters.org, where Tim Graham is the properly sanitized and social distance and all that stuff. Executive editor. Thanks, Tim. Stay healthy. See you later. More in a minute. San Diego's Talk, AM 760.
Mom has always been there for you, to love you, to pamper you, and to cure everything from a scratch to a broken heart. That's why this Mother's Day, it's your turn to take care of her. And at Northgate Gonzalez Market, we want to help you organize something special for her, if you're together or apart. We have deliciously prepared meals ready to go, and freshly made cakes from our bakery that she will love. Just order from your home and we'll deliver to your door. We will also have drive-up flower shops in selected stores from Saturday, May 9th to Sunday, May 10th, so you can get her a beautiful flower arrangement, easy and safe. Simply choose from our great variety of roses, orchids, and lilies, starting at $11.99. Pick, pay, and go. Check out NorthgateMarket.com for your store details. We've been part of your stories for 40 years, and during these times, it won't be any different. Happy Mother's Day. Northgate Gonzalez Market. Every visit has a story.
iHeartMedia knows small businesses across the country are facing new challenges during the COVID-19 pandemic. So to help, we put together the iHeartRadio Small Business Crisis Resource, which has critical information, including links to federal and state resources providing businesses with stimulus loans, grants, and other financial aid. We also shine a spotlight on small businesses doing good right now. Visit smallbusinesscrisisresource.com to learn more. That's smallbusinesscrisisresource.com, because your small business is big to us.
These are worrisome times, causing a lot of stress and concern, and being in debt to the IRS can certainly make matters worse. Thankfully, there's good news. Optima Tax Relief can help you resolve your tax debt over the phone and online. Don't go it alone. Optima's tax professionals can reduce the stress in your life by helping to resolve your IRS problems, right from the comfort of your own home. Optima is America's most trusted tax resolution firm, having resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. And their award-winning team is ready to help you online and over the phone, even during these uncertain times. They'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. All it takes is one call to start the process. Optima's tax associates are standing by. Take the first step towards putting your tax problems to rest. Call now for a free consultation. Call 800-557-5909. 800-557-5909. 800-557-5909. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Even in these uncertain times, people might run into you when you're out doing your essential business, so that's where you need to remember my friends at Mark Motors Body Shop. M-A-R-C-K, Mark Motors, the hotline to happiness to get your car repaired. Get the body shop work done at 619-440-0436. 619-440-0436. They'll put it all back together right. Don't take your insurance company's word for it. You got to go to their guy. You don't. Choose the best, as I have. Mark Motors. Mark Motors Body Shop. MarkMotors.com.
Have you still not refinanced your mortgage? Well, soon you might be kicking yourself in the head. Rates are at historic lows, so take advantage of our new Fast Track loan with an unbelievable low rate of 3.25 rate and APR with our no closing costs 30-year fixed loan. That's right, no points, no fees. Hi, I'm Wesley Hogan with Lennox Financial, a trusted lender for over 20 years. Even if you've refinanced in the last year, we can still probably save you money. And by the way, if you're a seasoned licensed loan officer, processor, or underwriter, we're looking to add great talent to our team. Send your resume to careers@weslend.com. This amazing 3.25 rate and APR won't last long, and our new Fast Track loan process can get it done in record time. So call today, 844-425-3669. That's 844-425-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind.
Licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender. Visit us at LennoxHomeLoans.com or call for additional cost information. Other restrictions apply. Rates subject to change.
Fuck Texas. The 15 days always made enough sense to me. You know, it would be like taking a day or two before a hurricane, batten down the hatches, right? It was just an extended version of that. But what we're seeing now isn't prepare for the coming storm. What we're seeing is a slow but sure transformation of society, the destruction of our economy, and the progressive seeing this as an opportunity to remake the state in their image. Fuck Texas. Weekday afternoons at 3 on San Diego's Talk, AM 760.
So, Scott Sherman, San Diego City Hall, and who else is Mayor of El Cajon, San Marcos Mayor Rebecca Jones, who's on with us on right now last night on Kogo. Phil Pace, founder of Phil's Barbecue, had been in the middle of a press conference in the last few minutes, saying, okay, we're on the right track here in terms of going to phase 2, but can we move more quickly? San Diego residents are saying have done their part, and we have to flatten the curve and ensure hospitals are not overwhelmed. So now they're saying, hey, let's speed this up. So they're asking for, proper protocols, but urging the county government to open more businesses faster than may happen once we get to Friday, depending what Newsom says today and tomorrow when the info comes out for the Thursday hearing or more specifics. So we'll talk with Scott Sherman a little later on next hour. Much more ahead right here live on San Diego's Talk, AM 760.
Sunny with low to mid 80s around San Diego today, mid 70s right along the coast. Inland Valley is expected to warm into the mid 90s with a heat advisory. Make sure to have that water with you.
This report is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. These are challenging times, and Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is prepared to help. If you need mortgage assistance, contact their team 24/7 at rocketmortgage.com. From their home to yours, the team at Rocket Mortgage is with you. Visit rocketmortgage.com.
Get off my lawn.
But mister, we're here for the $71 drain cleaning special.
Oh, well, get on my lawn. Tell the gang we're coming.
It's cold pepper green.
Are virtual meetings now part of your new normal? Is your conference room ready to go back to work? Whether you use Skype, Teams, GoToMeeting, Polycom, or Zoom, ITAV Solutions will modernize your essential meeting space to meet today's video conferencing demands. ITAV has been trusted by San Diego's top corporations for over a decade and were named National Audio Visual Consultant by CIO Review in 2019. Schedule your custom virtual conference room evaluation today at ITAVSolutions.com. ITAVSolutions.com.
Hey, we're Armstrong and Getty for Dan Beer and the Beer Home Team. You know Dan Beer at eXp Realty? They've sold 3 homes just this past weekend in a COVID-19 environment.
Yeah, these houses flew off the market, and they were all shown using Dan's virtual grand opening method.
Dan and his team are using technology that gives potential buyers a very intimate look inside a house from the comfort of their couch.
So the question is, how do you sell your home for full market value while not allowing the public to enter your property? Well, Dan Beer from the Beer Home Team at eXp Realty invites you to learn about their trade-in program.
When you find the perfect new home, not only do they turn you into a cash buyer so you can get the best possible price, but they have your current home purchased at full market value. They are one of only 3 agents in all of San Diego County that have access to this trade-in program.
Listen, if I was selling my home right now, I would call Dan Beer without hesitation at 858-465-7912. That's 858-465-7912 or soldbydanbeer.com. That's soldbydanbeer.com.
The San Diego Air and Space Museum in Balboa Park is open online. And boy, there's a lot of great things going online. Check it out at SanDiegoAirAndSpace.org, including the new SDASM TV. That sounds kind of cool. Well, what it is the acronym, SDASM. San Diego Air and Space Museum TV. New programming added all the time. A lot of great educational fun and just plain old fun for